On the very first corner of the first restart of the Catalan Grand Prix, it ended in one of the most frightening crashes of the season. Zarco overshot his braking into turn 1, collided with Luca Marini, went into the side of Pecco Bagnaia's Ducati, and had his left leg become trapped in the gap between Bagnaia's swingarm and the seat unit. He was then violently dragged through the gravel by the tumbling Ducati. Bagnaia and Marini both ran back to help him. The race was red-flagged immediately for the second time in 10 minutes. The official LCR statement confirmed torn anterior and posterior cruciate ligaments, medial meniscus damage in the knee, and a small fibula tear in the ankle area. Zarco himself posted from his hospital bed, "It is mostly the knee. The ligaments gave out, but the femur is not broken. There is a small fracture at the bottom of the fibula on the outside of my left ankle." The most frightening moment of the afternoon for one of the sport's most beloved riders ended with injuries serious enough to end his season entirely. From every press conference to every qualifying lap to every race result, we follow MotoGP all year, so you do not have to. Subscribe and stay in the paddock with us. Start with the context of how Zarco arrived at that turn 1 moment. The first red flag was triggered by the terrifying collision between Alex Marquez and Pedro Acosta on the back straight, approaching turn 10 on lap 12 of 24. Acosta's KTM suffered a suspected electronics failure. Alex Marquez had no time to react, clipped the rear of the KTM, was deflected violently onto the grass, and suffered a massive high-speed crash that destroyed his Gresini Ducati. Zarco, running behind the incident, was struck by carbon fiber debris from the disintegrating Marquez bike. He took the hit and continued riding, but was visibly in pain. Cecchinello confirmed that Zarco was managing the effects of the debris impact during the red flag interval. Zarco had been treating his foot with ice during the preceding red flag as a result of the debris hit. Zarco was already in pain before the restart. Whether that contributed to the braking error at turn 1 is impossible to confirm, but it is a relevant factor in understanding the sequence. On the very first lap of the restart, approaching turn 1 at the end of the main straight, Zarco's braking was late. He overshot his entry. He clipped Luca Marini on the inside line. The impact sent Zarco's bike into the side of Bagnaia's Ducati. As the Honda fell, Zarco's left leg became trapped in the mechanical gap between Bagnaia's rear swingarm and the seat unit. The Ducati dragged Zarco and his trapped leg through the gravel as it tumbled across the runoff area. The images broadcast from the trackside cameras were deeply disturbing. Bagnaia was up immediately. Marini was up seconds later. Both ran back towards Zarco without hesitation. Bagnaia was later seen with an ice pack on his wrist. Marini had taken his own hit in the crash. Neither of them waited. Both ran back to their fallen colleague immediately. That is the brotherhood of motorcycle racing in its most direct form. Zarco was attended to at the site of the crash. He was conscious throughout. He was transferred to the medical center and from there to the Hospital Universitari General de Catalunya for further examination. Cecchinello gave the first official update. He has pain in the left leg. He has pain around the knee, but fortunately he has no concussion. He has no injuries in the upper part of the body. Looks like he has pain just in the femur area. I really hope there will be no bad news coming. Zarco himself then posted from his hospital bed, directly addressing his fans. Hi everyone, do not worry. We are still waiting for the test results. I am wearing a neck brace, but it is more of a nuisance than anything else. It is mostly the knee. The ligaments gave out, but the femur is not broken. There is a small fracture at the bottom of the fibula on the outside of my left ankle. He said he was more scared than hurt. Then came the full official LCR statement. The hospital confirmed torn anterior and posterior cruciate ligaments and medial meniscus damage in the knee, plus a small fibula tear in the ankle area. The anterior and posterior cruciate ligaments are the two primary stabilizing ligaments of the knee joint. Both torn together represent a genuinely severe injury. The medial meniscus is the cartilage cushion between the upper and lower bones of the knee. Adding meniscus damage on top of double cruciate ligament tears is a complex injury requiring surgical intervention. The realistic prognosis for double cruciate ligament damage is sobering. A single anterior cruciate ligament tear typically requires surgery and a minimum of 6 to 9 months of rehabilitation. A double cruciate ligament tear is even more serious. The medial meniscus damage adds surgical complexity. Zarco's 2026 season is almost certainly over. The question of whether he is fully fit for the start of 2027 is genuine and serious. For the FIM stewards, the Zarco incident has triggered an investigation that will only be heard once Zarco himself is available. The nature of the incident, a braking error by Zarco into turn 1, suggests the investigation will determine whether his overrun was a racing incident in difficult restart conditions or whether there was a contributing factor that could have been avoided. Given the context of the debris hit he had already taken, the most likely verdict is racing incident. The Zarco incident has also started a broader conversation among MotoGP riders about the safety of Turn 1 at Barcelona. Multiple riders have now publicly called for changes to the circuit layout, the runoff design, or the barrier placement. The corner's approach, with a long main straight leading to a very tight right-hander, creates exactly the conditions where braking errors are most likely. That safety conversation now has new urgency. For LCR Honda specifically, the weekend that started so well ended in the worst possible way. Cecchinello captured the frustration honestly. "It was a perfect weekend for us, 5th in practice, 5th in qualifying, and 5th in the sprint race. It was a real pity that our weekend ended like this." Zarco will remain overnight in hospital and travel to France on Monday to consult with specialists and assess the next steps. For Honda, as a manufacturer, the Zarco injury comes at a particularly difficult moment. He is Honda's most important competitive rider for 2026. He delivered Honda's only race victory of 2025 at the French Grand Prix at Le Mans. With Zarco potentially sidelined for an extended period, Honda's ability to score competitive points and demonstrate their recovery is significantly reduced. For Zarco personally, the injury is the most serious of his recent career. He arrived at Catalan on the kind of form that suggested the second half of the season could be his strongest period with Honda. The Turn 1 crash has taken that possibility away. The deeper concern is what the double cruciate ligament injury means for his long-term physical condition. Zarco will be 36 in November. Extended knee rehabilitation at that stage of a career is genuinely demanding. Whether Zarco returns to MotoGP at full competitive capability depends on the quality of his surgical intervention, the discipline of his rehabilitation, and his own physical response to the injury. The positive context is that modern cruciate ligament surgery has advanced significantly. Many professional athletes across multiple sports have returned to competitive performance after similar injuries. Zarco's own message, describing himself as more scared than hurt, suggests his mental outlook remains resilient even from a hospital bed. What do you think? Is the double cruciate ligament injury serious enough to end not just Zarco's 2026 season, but his MotoGP career entirely, or will his physical resilience and modern surgical techniques allow a full recovery before 2027? Should MotoGP make changes to Turn 1 at the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya after the second serious crash at this corner in recent seasons? And does the loss of Zarco, Honda's strongest competitive performer, significantly set back the Japanese manufacturer's recovery at exactly the moment their 2027 planning is most critical? Drop your predictions in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe for more MotoGP news. I'll catch you in the next one.